I would call to order the Village of Westmont Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for March 12, 2014. May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Thomas?
Here.
Commissioner Van Buren is here. Commissioner Fidesco?
Here.
Commissioner Pill?
Here.
Commissioner Fleet? Commissioner Anton? Chairman Richard?
Yes.
We have a quorum.
If you would please all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll have you standing. If you're going to give any testimony either for or against any item, you got to be sworn in. So if you please just raise your right hand. I swear that any testimony I give this evening shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Thank you. I would ask that you silence any and all electronic devices. Chairman gets very upset when he hears them.
Especially when it's his own.
I never done with that down, am I? Okay, first order of business is approval of the minutes of our February 12th meeting. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Pill, seconded by Commissioner Van Buren. Question on the motion? May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Van Buren votes yes. Commissioner Fidesco?
Yes.
Commissioner Pill?
Present.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
And Chairman Richard?
Yes. Anne Marie, since we only have 3 members voting for, it's still a majority, it's not a quorum, it's still.
It's fine.
Okay. Attorney tells me we have enough votes to recommend approval of the minutes, so be it. New business, planning and zoning item 14004. Joseph Johanovich of Bugwilder Studios regarding the property located at 36 North Cass for the following. A, special use permit request to operate a ground floor hair salon in the B1 Limited Business District. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. The studio that I've got set up was originally intended to be kind of a high-end portrait studio, catering to those individuals who are looking for a little bit more than a mall type of location to get a photograph done. So through the planning process, in my initial presentation to the board, I had noted that I would be wanting to offer salon services in the form of hair, makeup, those kinds of things in preparation for photography. And as I've been through my process, I got to my business permitting stage and actually applied for a beauty salon as part of my business license, because something I'd always intended, not understanding that there's an extra regulation in the business district downtown for ground floor salons. So I'm here seeking that additional permission to have that as part of the business model.
All right, and then if you do receive a recommendation for approval, then there will be construction, you'll apply for a permit for construction, all that?
Everything's already taken care of. It was all part of the original plan and concept.
All the remodeling's all done?
All the remodeling's all done, the equipment is in place. I'm up and running and ready to go, and just initially I think the understanding by the Economic Development Office was that the salon would just be ancillary to the photography and therefore might not require the full ordinance required, and I'm here just to get that buttoned up and make sure that
okay, I just thought I saw a new wall. No, I guess some doors in the back.
Oh, yeah, this has already been completed, and yeah, all the construction is already completed. It was all part of the original permit for the construction to have the studio originally.
I just looked at current and proposed, and they were a little
Yeah,
different.
I'm sorry, that's from the original application 2 years ago.
Is there anybody from the public who will speak on this issue? Seeing no hands raised, or close the public comment if staff.
As Joe mentioned, the chairs were already existing when he moved into the studio, and he was planning to use them as part of the photography business, so he's not adding to anything that's there. He would just have additional services offered that might not necessarily be related to the photography business. He ran this past the Economic Development Committee last month, and they recommended that he go through the formal process for approval.
Thank you. Let's start with Commissioner Thomas.
So you just here to make sure that the chairs are covered and the, this additional services are covered by whatever ordinance might be needed or whatever?
Yeah, correct. The original concept was to include these services, which I had put in my original application, and the extra layer of the special use in the downtown on the ground floor didn't get tacked on at that time. I would have done all this.
It's another the last hoop you have to jump through.
Exactly. Yeah, and
to open up.
In preparing for this meeting, there was some question as to whether or not it was, formally necessary, because it was really part of the other thing, and back and forth. And my desire to be a good neighbor and comply with all the ordinances is the whole reason that I'm here.
There you go. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Pill.
Yes, just to bring this full circle, this is a great business opportunity, and I was at the economic development meeting where this gentleman was in front of a large group of people, and we thought it best, because there are many other salons offering services in the town, that he sort of end up with the same type of permitting process that they have, even though he's not going to be really open to the public. This is for wedding parties that want to have a nice set of portraits and things like that, and they want to get makeup and hair done and things like that. So also being with his initial presentations, I remember very well when this was put in front of us. So I support this wholeheartedly and think it's a great asset, and I think this is the kind of person we want in our community. I'm with you 100%.
Thank you very much. And just to clarify, my background is in photography. I've had way too many years in commercial photography. As I've gotten this portrait studio kind of formulated and going, the business model keeps evolving over time. I mean, my desire is to offer all the traditional portrait services, but having the interest in this part of the business, I don't want to not be able to take advantage of those things. So in trying to get feet to the door, the very first kind of test project I did, I've got a little video I can show you if you're interested in seeing it, but a bride came in for photos a couple weeks before her wedding, so we did some fashion photos. She was ecstatic, but she brought her wedding party in with her. And so while I was photographing the bride, all the other girls were getting hair and makeup that I did not photograph. They were not there to be photographed. And so this is kind of, opening up the possibilities of having those people, having that part of the business be active outside of the photography, having each one help market the other, help promote the other one. So I don't know where business is planning on taking me. It's just that becoming aware of the extra ordinance, it was important to me that I not be perceived as trying to jump through a loophole or kind of backdoor that being able to offer those services. I'd like the full permission to do that.
We understand. Commissioner Van Buren?
Yeah, I don't recall having seen you before this board. Is that right?
Yeah, this was 2 years ago.
Then my question to you is, Jill, is photography considered a B2 standard use?
Yes, it's considered, he's in the B1 district, and it's an allowed use, and that's why he did not go through planning and zoning. He went through the village board for a development permit approval, and they saw his list of services and thought that was appropriate, and that was what was approved. It's just that the expansion in the salon use is what's triggering the special use.
Thank you. Well, great. Have good luck to you. And
Thank you.
Commissioner Fidesco?
Yeah, well, you may have answered my question, because you said you didn't know where the business was going. So you may want to operate the salon portion outside of the portrait portion. It's primarily there to supplement it, but you may, in fact, have maybe some clients that would just want to have the makeup and hairdressing.
Yeah,
services.
as I've started exploring how I'm going to market this kind of a different idea in bridal portraiture. I'm networking with lots of hair and makeup people. I'm trying to offer them portfolio services in exchange for some goodwill so that they bring me brides when they have a client who's planning on getting married. And so as I'm teaming up with those people, I've had several people ask, well, you know, I've got a bride who I'm going to do trial makeup for. You know, can I come into the studio and do that there? Because it's a much more polished place than what they currently work out of their home. So as I'm starting to work in these tandems and this networking thing, I see a lot of potential for having people in that part of the business doing that type of thing separate from photography as a viable way of getting feet through the door and getting busy.
Yeah, because I know that there are some hair salons that have, well, they kind of like sublet the chairs, and I was
Correct.
just wondering if that, you know, might be something that you would be doing, you know, in other words, other than your primary contacts that will be there for your business.
Yeah, I see that as a possibility. Again, I don't have a formal relationship with anybody at this point in time. My understanding is that those relationships are either done as completely independent. You rent the chair and you come and go as you please, and it's available to you 24/7, or you can work with another person in that business on a commission basis where you just receive a commission based on how busy they are for what's going on in that chair. I'm not at a point now where I've got the business to support paying an employee, so those other options. For my business, I would like everything to be coming through the door under my business name. So the relationships I'm looking to make would definitely be where we're either working together in some sort of limited partnership, or they're working for me under that auspice, as opposed to you're promoting yourself under your name and you're building your business in that fashion.
Okay, so you've answered my question.
Okay.
Whoever's in there is going to be primarily working on your behalf, however your arrangements are with them, that's
Yes.
a different deal, but as long as they're primarily there to service your business, you know.
Yes, absolutely. That's my
Okay.
plan.
Thank you.
I really like your idea because when a bride comes in and gets all her makeup done and her hair done, she doesn't want to have to climb in a car, face the wind, perhaps rain, so you can do everything inside of a building, and everything will turn out well. The only question I have is this, do you do entire wedding parties?
I'm not currently offering the wedding day photography service. I'm looking.
No, I didn't mean that. I meant all the bridesmaids and best men.
Yes, that would be something we would offer. The idea is that this is not on a wedding day, so that there's the whole tradition of not seeing the groom, not seeing the bride in her dress before the wedding. So the plan's been kind of to make this a spa day. I'm calling it Bride's Day. So it's the bride and her girls or her part of the wedding party.
Well, I've been to some weddings lately, and some of the size of the wedding parties are fairly large. Do you have any problem with parking for if a large group comes in with a lot of automobiles?
I've got 9 spaces in the back of my studio.
Oh, okay.
I had a
Street parking too.
Yeah, I'm 2 buildings away from the corner, so around the corner on Irving, that whole side of the block has got street parking, and then kitty corner is the public lot, which is often overlooked because it's so close to the tune that it feels like it's there a lot, I think. So.
Okay. Well, I think what you're proposing makes a lot of sense. Okay, since we have a request for a special use, may we have a reading of the findings of fact, please?
Request for a special use to allow a ground floor hair salon in the B1 Limited Business District at 36 North Cass Avenue. Criteria number 1, the establishment, maintenance, or operation of the special use will not be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare. The proposed use is a small-scale salon use, which is ancillary to the primary business of a photography studio on the property, and which will be completely enclosed and will not adversely impact the public health, safety, or welfare. Criteria number 2, the special use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor substantially diminish or impair property values within the neighborhood. The proposed use will be an indoor use, which will not create adverse noise, light, vibration, odors, hours of operation, or have any other adverse impacts on surrounding properties. Criteria number 3, the establishment of the special use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding property for uses permitted in the district. The proposed use will occupy an existing tenant space and the surrounding properties are fully developed. This use will not adversely impact the normal and orderly development of adjacent properties. Criteria number 4, adequate utilities, access ways, drainage, and/or other necessary facilities have been or are being provided. The proposed use will occupy an existing tenant space which is adequately served by existing utilities, drainage, and access ways. Criteria number 5, adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide ingress and egress so designed as to minimize traffic congestion in the public streets. The proposed use will not create any unique parking or traffic concerns. Sufficient off-street and on-street parking exists for this low-impact use. Criteria number 6, the special use shall in all other respects conform to the applicable regulations of the district in which it is located, except as such regulations may in each instance be modified by the village board pursuant to the recommendation of the Plan Commission. The proposed use meets the other regulations of the zoning ordinance and the Westmont Code of Ordinances, and no variances are required in conjunction with this use.
If you agree with these findings, please raise your hand. We are unanimous in agreement. The findings of fact for a special use are hereby adopted and approved. I would entertain a motion to recommend approval to the Board of Trustees under Planning and Zoning Item 14004, Item A, a special use permit request to operate a ground floor hair salon in the B1 Limited Business District.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Thomas, seconded by Commissioner Fidesco. Question on the motion? May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Fidesco?
Yes.
Commissioner Pill?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Buren votes yes, and Chairman Richard.
Yes. All right, sir, you'll have our recommendation for approval, and staff can tell you when you'll go before the Committee of the Whole.
Outstanding. Thank you very much.
Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Planning and Zoning Item 14005, Jason Levesque of MIH Admin Services regarding the property located at 180 West Ogden for the following. A, special use permit request to operate an existing restaurant with an existing drive-in in the B2 General Business District. Item B, a zoning code variance request to increase the number of allowable signs in the B2 General Business District. Item C, zoning code variance request to increase the maximum gross square footage of signage in the B2 General Business District.
Hi,
Good afternoon.
I'm here representing Jason Levesque, and I'm an operator, so I won't be able to answer a lot of your questions about the signage, but they will. But I just wanted to let you guys know that Hardee's is very happy to be coming, and we're excited to be a part of the community. This will be our 10th store in the Chicago area, and we're hoping to open 35 total in the Chicago area. It is our 70th Hardee's, and we also have 63 Carl Jr.'s. And we're excited to be coming. Carl Jr.'s, that's our sister company.
That's the other store, yeah.
Huh?
That's the other store.
Yeah, that's our sister company. Carl Jr.'s actually bought Hardee's.
They got great burgers.
Yes, they do. Well, we have their burgers. Carl Jr.'s, we have Hardee's. Carl Jr.'s gave Hardee's their lunch menu, and we gave Carl Jr.'s our breakfast menu. So we have Carl Jr.'s burgers. They have our biscuits.
Okay, since we have a request for a variance, may we have somebody address that, in particular, the hardship involved?
Sure. My name is Dustin Smarco. I can represent any of the design or architecture on the project. Basically, we're taking an existing fast food restaurant, which was an Arby's, with an existing drive-through and a fairly generous lot for parking, and doing a primarily interior renovation to utilize existing infrastructure to do more like a one-for-one change of equipment inside, and then a rebranding of the interior and exterior. So that means finishes on the inside and then signage on the outside, applying the standard Hardee's colors, roofing material, and then logos on ground sign, wall signs, and awnings if the variance would be allowed. So the hardship, I guess to begin with, the drive-through is an essential part of the business model for Hardee's. It would not be functional without it. Luckily, this is an existing building that utilized a drive-through, so the entire site was designed for that function. And if you look at the floor plan as well as the summary in the memo, there is fully adequate stacking spaces, which is often a concern of a drive-through, so that when you have so many cars, you're not obstructing the vehicular traffic past them. And I believe that your municipality doesn't have a minimum requirement for stacking, but it does summarize in the memo that 7 is somewhat national average, and I think they reference banks. We can actually fit 8 here very
Okay.
comfortably. And so
But that really is not a problem. The variances you're requesting are number of allowable signs and the gross square footage.
Right. So the variance for the signage specifically is to brand Hardee's as they normally would in any location. And the primary signage that they would want is a ground sign at the front of the building and the wall sign at the face of the building, both on the south face of Ogden. The additional signage that we're asking for variance is the signage on the awnings, which we typically would not consider signage, but it is according to your code, and so it is exceeding your maximum. So it is really just part of the Hardee's look and Hardee's branding. To remove it is still remains a Hardee's. We have the signage. It is just preferred to keep the business model and the look that they have nationally.
All right. Is there anybody from the public who will speak on this? Seeing no hands raised, we'll close public comment. Staff?
We're very happy to see the existing restaurant be reused for the Hardee's restaurant. We feel very comfortable with the stacking that's provided on the current site plan. And as Dustin mentioned, the main request for the sign variance is for the awnings because the individual logos are counted as signs, so that bumps up the number of signs that they're requesting and the square footage. They're still slightly over on square footage, but they would, by right, be allowed 1 wall sign and 1 ground sign.
Okay. Commissioner Fidesco?
Yeah, being that the overall square footage is just slightly over what would have been allowed without but the problem is it's the locations, because of the building and how it sits and the way we calculate. Had the building been facing the other way, it would have been a larger square footage for signage. So I really don't have a problem, especially since there's no lettering on the awnings. It's just, to me, it's part of the awnings. So I don't really have any other questions or any comments. Good luck.
Okay, Commissioner Van Buren?
Yes, I had asked earlier, I'll ask again, to Jill, if you feel that the signage request being made here is exceeding that which would normally you'd see along Ogden Avenue in a similar type of operation, less the awning.
Yes, minus the awning, I think it would be very similar. They're also adding landscaping to the base of the ground sign, which will improve the appearance along Ogden Avenue. And I think that having 1 wall sign and 1 ground sign isn't atypical for such a busy corridor. And if you compare this to 63rd and Cass, the signs are substantially smaller.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any problem with it. Good luck to you.
Commissioner Pill?
Yes, in dealing with this property before, there have been questions about fire sprinkler. Is that building fire sprinkled, and if not, are you planning on doing it?
I'm trying to remember offhand.
Yes, they are.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's not, but it will be.
But that is one built into your municipal code.
Right.
That we are being required to add it.
What's the estimated time for the opening?
You could probably answer that best, Paul.
The middle of it, like tax day, then April 15th-ish? From now? So May 1st then, maybe?
A lot of this hinges on getting the approval through zoning as well as a building and health permit. Often, as soon as we have the permit available and then the signs are actually manufactured, then they want to open as soon as possible.
Is there a lot of work to do on the inside?
No, once they get a building permit and they can get inside, I'd say they knock things out in a week or two.
Oh. Are you planning on offering the breakfast? I got a little confused with that whole menu swapping and trading and stuff like that. So it's like a Big Mac and a Whopper? We did sort of a...
No, not quite.
Okay.
I mean,
Miss,
similar.
if you could, the podium, the audience at home cannot hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They're on the edge of their seats.
Okay. No, we will have all the traditional Hardee's breakfast, all of the made-from-scratch biscuits, biscuits and gravy. And Carl Jr.'s, they used 100% Angus beef, and they charbroiled their burgers. And when they bought Hardee's, that's what they brought to Hardee's. So we use 100% Angus beef. All of our burgers are cooked to order on the charbroiler. And we also offer great values, 79-cent drinks, $1 biscuit and gravy, so.
Okay. So you'll have the, I was trying to read it in our package, but it's very hard to read those drive-through signs from a photo. So I went online. You'll have the full Hardee's menu here. You'll be offering all 3 meals during the course of the day. What would the estimated hours be?
I do not know if that is going to be a 24-hour store or not. My best guess would be that it is, that it'll be a 24-hour store. So far, all but 2 of our locations have been 24-hour. That's what we like to do.
And this is going to be the 10th in the Chicago area of an expected 35?
Yes.
Do we have any issues with the drive-through microphone on a 24-hour operation?
There's nothing in the code that restricts that.
Because they do have residential behind them there.
Right.
You also have a very generous lot, and so the drive-through ordering area is too far from the residences on the north side.
Yeah,
I think
I was
there's a
sitting in
fence
that
there
lot
as well.
yesterday, checking it all out, the space and stuff like that. But sometimes at night, I mean, I live north of there, and I hear the railroad tracks, which are 3 miles south. And I can hear trains at night when we've got our windows open. If you have the right wind currents, it moves it around. So I just didn't know if we're setting ourselves up, you and us, for neighborhood complaints and things like that. So
I can actually say we've never had anyone complain about that, about the noise from the speaker in any of our locations. And we do have locations that are in residential.
do you? Great.
It's like that. I think, isn't there a fence back there?
There's also a fence,
Yeah, I
yes.
think that helps a
I
lot.
also believe it's fairly well landscaped as well, so you
Yeah.
have a very good buffer on that
Good.
north face.
And it's
Well-
not so loud. I mean, we don't have the speaker up so loud that we're blaring at the customers.
Great. Well, I look forward to seeing you guys get that site cleaned up and opened up and ready for business, so welcome.
Thank you. We're excited.
Commissioner Thomas?
Seems like a custom-made win-win, very little transformation effort, and wish you best of luck. I was a customer before, I'll be a customer afterwards.
Great. We're happy to have you.
What an endorsement.
Let's get a photo of you holding it.
Again,
You may lose a camera.
Thank you.
That could break the lens.
good luck. That's all I got.
On your awnings, the star, is that all that's going to be on each of the awnings?
Exactly
Or will
what
there
you
be
see.
lettering?
Everything that you see in that rendering is exactly how it would be manufactured.
I would question if that's a sign, really, to be honest with you.
It's the way our code says, any logo, any.
Oh, okay.
yeah. It's pretty specific.
Excuse me, is our code unusual in that regard?
I would say it's half and half. The more restrictive codes typically do count logos.
We've gone through several zoning and plan commission processes as well, and we haven't run across any others, at least in this area so far, that have the same requirement.
Okay, I did have, on your monument sign, you are aware that our codes call for an address on that. I don't see it portrayed on
It
this.
should have been added.
I received revised plans that did add it with the 6-inch numerals.
It is?
Yes, mhm.
Okay, it's just not shown in our
Right.
packet.
If you
Yeah,
want to see it,
it's not in the color drawings.
I may have that revised package for you if you want to see it.
You
but
can
it
put
is
it on
being
that
covered.
little
Let me just make sure it's in here.
Well, just so you don't get caught flat-footed,
But I
that's all right.
apologize, I didn't bring it, but it is definitely being addressed.
Okay.
The sign installer, I promise the numbers will be there. We can make them in our own shop out of mine.
I can promise you they'll be there too.
So it's submitted formally, and it is.
It is. I have it in the file.
Okay, the only other question I have, since we abut a residential district, 24-hour operation, illumination of the parking lots. What can be done now, even though we say foot candles at the property line have to be such and such, you always get spillover. Just cannot be stopped.
I would say that.
And is there any way in the back end of the parking lot could be some sort of a low illumination which would be facing towards Ogden Avenue
Would that be?
rather
you
than
need to replace
pole
something that's
lighting?
there?
I really can't see where the pole lighting would be on here or anything. Basically, I'm worried about the spillover for the evening hours into
Oh, I
the
understand.
residential
Yeah.
district to the north of you.
I'm trying to locate one in the rear right now. Okay, so I am seeing a light pole which is somewhat central to the entire site, actually right behind the building. I don't actually see any in the rear. On the
Doesn't
site plan
show
right
any.
now.
No, I didn't see it either.
Yeah.
And what we had found, I'm not sure the type of lighting, if there is one back there, but if on other sites, not Hardee's, other projects I've worked on, to address that kind of problem, you can add shields to certain fixtures that direct the light towards the property and block it to the areas that you need.
Jill,
But I
could-
couldn't tell you where the existing light pole would be in that area.
Could we make some notes to our engineer that this, so we don't disturb this residents to the north of it?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
And, you know, I am seeing on the photos, and you're welcome to see these afterwards, at least on the rear of the building, there's a directable light mounted on the roof. So that's supplemental to the light pole. And that could be the reason why we're not seeing any site pole lighting in the rear.
Okay, but as long as our engineer will be happy to work with you on that, you know, to address that concern. And like my other fellow commissioners are saying, I think you're a perfect fit, and I look forward to you coming in the village. And I want to have your second hamburger.
After training.
After Commissioner Thomas beats me out of the first one.
Wow. Lucky dude.
Okay. We are requesting a special use for item A. May we have a reading of the findings of fact for a special use, please?
Request for a special use to allow a drive-through lane and service for a restaurant in the B2 General Business District at 180 West Ogden Avenue in Westmont. Criteria number 1, the establishment, maintenance, or operation of the special use will not be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare. A previous fast food restaurant operated from this location without incident. The proposed fast food restaurant is consistent with other commercial development along Ogden Avenue, will not pose unique traffic hazards, and will not endanger the public health. Criteria number 2, the special use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor substantially diminish or impair property values within the neighborhood. Surrounding properties are fully developed and commercial in character. The proposed restaurant will not have any adverse impact on surrounding properties or property values. Criteria number 3, the establishment of the special use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding property for uses permitted in the district. Surrounding properties are fully developed. The proposed restaurant will not impact future redevelopment or adversely impact the existing commercial corridor along Ogden Avenue. Criteria number 4, Adequate utilities, accessways, drainage, and/or other necessary facilities have been or are being provided. The property is already developed as a restaurant and is serviced by adequate utilities, accessways, drainage, and other facilities. Criteria number 5, adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide ingress and egress so designed as to minimize traffic congestion in the public streets. The drive-through lane will have sufficient space for the queuing of cars. Parking on the site is adequate. The property will be improved with sidewalks, sufficient drive aisles, and adequate ingress and egress. The restaurant will not generate abnormally high traffic counts for a fast food restaurant. As such, sufficient measures have been taken to minimize traffic congestion. Criteria number 6, the special use shall in all other respects conform to the applicable regulations of the district in which it is located, except as such regulations may in each instance be modified by the village board pursuant to the recommendation of the Plan Commission. The drive-through will meet all other codes and ordinances of the village. Criteria number 7, the proposed use meets the special conditions of Special Condition 2. The proposed use will not cause appreciable traffic congestion or hazard to pedestrian safety. The drive-through lane contains a sufficient and safe lane for the queuing of vehicles. The site contains adequate drive aisles, parking spaces, sidewalks, and means of ingress and egress.
If you agree with these findings, please raise your hand. We are unanimous in agreement. Therefore, the findings of fact for special use are hereby adopted and approved. Under Planning and Zoning, item 14005. Item A, I would entertain a motion to recommend approval to the Board of Trustees a special use permit request to operate an existing restaurant with an existing drive-in.
So moved.
To general business district.
So moved.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Van Buren, seconded by Commissioner Fidesco. A question on the motion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Pill?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Buren votes yes. Commissioner Fidesco?
Yes.
And Chairman Richard?
Yes. Okay, we need a reading of findings of fact for zoning code variance request.
Request for variances to increase the number of allowable signs and to increase the maximum gross square footage of signs for the property located in the B2 General Business District at 180 West Ogden Avenue. Criteria number 1, the property in question cannot yield a reasonable return if permitted to be used only under the conditions allowed by the regulations in the district in which it is located. The sign variances are due in part to the fact that the property has 2 street frontages and the proposed signage is necessary to increase visibility of this restaurant to the public. Additionally, the signage is necessary as part of the Hardee's corporate branding. The applicant cannot yield a reasonable return if it is forced to strictly comply with the sign regulations of the village. Criteria number 2, the plight of the owner is due to unique circumstances. The variances are sought due to the 2 street frontages for the property and due to compliance with corporate branding and identification requirements. Criteria number 3, the variation if granted will not alter the essential character of the locality. The property is located along a heavily trafficked commercial corridor and the signage is consistent with signage displayed for other nearby businesses. The signage is consistent with the character of the neighborhood.
If you agree with these, please raise your hand. We are unanimous in agreement. Therefore, the findings of fact for a variance are hereby adopted and approved. I would entertain a motion to recommend approval to the Board of Trustees. Item B, a zoning code variance request to increase the number of allowable signs in the B2 General Business District.
So moved?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Pill, seconded by Commissioner Fidesco. Question on the motion. May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Buren votes yes. Commissioner Fidesco?
Yes.
Commissioner Pill?
Yes.
Chairman Richard?
Yes. Okay, we have another variance request that requires a reading of findings of fact.
The findings of fact were combined.
It's the same.
Same reading.
Oh, pardon me. Okay.
We just need it.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to recommend approval to the Board of Trustees. Item C, a zoning code variance request to increase the maximum gross square footage of signage in the B2 General Business District.
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Fidesco, seconded by Commissioner Pill. Question on motion. A roll call, please.
Commissioner Van Buren votes yes. Commissioner Fidesco?
Yes.
Commissioner Pill?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Chairman Richard?
Yes. Okay, folks, you have our recommendation for approval, and I look to see you soon, very soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Staff?
That's all I have this evening.
That's all you have? Any commissioners? Nothing? Entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved?
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Pill, seconded by Commissioner Van Buren. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.